So the nurse is telling, it's still early days. Let's wait. It is before we jump to conclusions, let's just wait. All right. So we have everyone choosing answer option C. So is that the right answer? Yes. Right. It's too soon to make judgments. Judgments means what? To come to a conclusion. Right. Judgments means, yeah. So we are judging someone. That is, we are coming to a conclusion regarding someone. Okay. So that's what judgments basically means. And early days, that is too early. Okay. Let's not make any rash decisions. You have to wait. It's too soon. Right. So that is the meaning of early days. Okay. That I think that's a little bit more straightforward question. So let's go to the third question over here. The physician said, we need to tread carefully here. His condition could worsen unexpectedly. What does tread carefully mean? It is TREAD, not thread. Thread is THREAD. Tread carefully. For that, you need to know what is the meaning of tread. Those who do not know the meaning of tread, it will be slightly difficult. Yes. Okay. So tread basically means, to explore, okay, or to walk, okay, to explore something or, to walk on something. That is what we call as tread. So, treadmill. Have you heard about treadmill? Right. So treadmill means what? It is an equipment where you can walk, where you can run. Okay. So treadmill basically means to walk. Literally, it means basically to walk. Okay, so we need to tread carefully here. That is, we need to move very, very cautiously. We need to move, okay, the forward actions, we need to do it very, very carefully. That is, we have to take a lot of caution. Okay, why his condition could worse unexpectedly? Like anytime, it is very unpredictable. The condition can become bad. Right. So the answer option here is C. All right. So it is act with caution and precision. That is, you have to take very calculated decisions. One wrong decision, and if we are not very careful, things can happen, go wrong. Okay, that's what it means. So move the patient to the ICU. Answer option B. That is a little bit deviant, I would say. Okay, but the word tread. Okay, so again, here the question is tread carefully. So here, tread carefully means move ahead very, very carefully. Okay, so tread basically means to walk. Those who do not know, treadmill, just think of a treadmill and understand the meaning of that. Right. So now let's go to the fourth question. So I'm trying to improve your vocabulary so that on the examination day, it will help you out. All right. So the senior nurse described the shift as absolute chaos. We are putting out fires all day. What does putting out fires imply? Imply means mean. What does putting out fires mean? So imagine, if it's a tough question for you, just imagine fires, putting out fires. So do you think putting out fires is a very pleasant job, or do you think it is a very stressful situation? Right. So what is the correct answer? So I think everyone has participated, I believe. Right. So answer option C is indeed the correct answer. Right. So putting out fires. Okay. So imagine there is a lot of fires. Okay. So can we take 1 hour to put out a fire? No, right? As soon as we see a fire anywhere, we have to extinguish it as soon as possible. Okay. So that is what it means. Okay. They were managing many urgent problems, not just one, but several urgent problems. And absolute, it was very, very chaotic. Okay. So now let's take a look into the very fifth question over here. Okay, so this is also going to be a figurative speech question. The doctor said, we cannot sugarcoat it. Okay, we cannot sugarcoat it. Coat means on a surface area. Sugar means sweet. Okay, we cannot make it sweet. We cannot put sugar on top. That is the meaning. We cannot make it sweet. So what do you think is the answer? We cannot sugarcoat it. The prognosis means what? The disease progression. Okay, the journey of the disease, the trajectory of the disease. Okay, that is what we call as prognosis. The prognosis is poor. That means the disease condition is poor. What does sugarcoat it mean? All right. So has everyone written? Yeah. So answer option C. Okay, very good. Make the truth more pleasant. Okay. So if we say the truth is bitter. Okay. We always in many philosophies we say the truth is bitter. Okay. So like that. So that is we are sugarcoating it. Okay. That is we are making it. So instead of actually saying it very directly, we are saying a lot of things, and then we are making it less bitter, and we are making it more pleasant to the person, right? So for example, if you want to fire someone, okay, you own a company and your staff is not working properly, you want to fire someone, right? So how will you do it? Sometimes if you're a very good person, firing someone will not come very easy for you, right? Because their livelihood is depending upon you. So you will say, oh, you're a very good person, you deserve more, I'm pretty sure you have a very bright future, there are so many other companies waiting for you, so I have decided to leave you off. Okay, so that is, we are saying the truth, but we are just making it sweet, so the other person does not get offended. Okay, very easily. So that's it. Sugar coat. So again, these are what we call as figurative speech, idioms, and metaphors and all. So those who have some interest over here, it is always a good idea to go and research on that. And every time you do a listening and a reading, I'm very, very sure you will be able to come across such type of phrases. So in a notebook, write it down. Okay. So, sometimes you have to prepare for the OET, just like how you were preparing for an examination in schools and colleges. Have a dedicated notebook, have a notebook for OET, for listening, for reading, for writing and speaking. Maybe have four notebooks, and in every notebook, or at least like one notebook, you just write some information. Okay, things that you find very interesting, things you believe will come in the examination day, some tips, certain strategies, certain vocabulary, certain phrases. Okay, so that you don't forget it. So and before the examination day, you can just revise it and you can take forward, right? So today, having discussed that, what we're going to do is we will be practicing listening part B, that is workplace extracts. Okay, so I'm going to take Melissa Gordon. So this is a textbook material over here. All right, so Melissa Gordon textbook materials, the blue color border that you see, it is these materials happen to be slightly complex, all right, compared to other materials. So listening part A, let's just skip for it. We have discussed all this before at the time come. Okay, so let's just talk what you can expect in listening part B. All right, so listening part B, you can expect 6 multiple choice questions. Okay, there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And all these 6 questions will be completely unrelated to each other. Completely unrelated. There will be no connection. Right. And they give you 15 seconds time. 15 seconds time to read the question. And after 15 seconds, they will play you the audio for 30 seconds. Okay. And after 30 seconds audio, they will give you 5 seconds time to mark the correct answer. Then they go to the next question, and once again, they will give you 15 seconds time to read the question. 30 seconds they'll play the audio, and 5 seconds they will give you to mark the correct answer. And this process is repeated. And remember that all 6 questions are going to be completely unconnected with each other. So therefore, it may look like part B is very easy, but really what is happening is after each question, your brain is being forced to study a new topic. Okay, that is, as soon as one topic is done, they are giving you a completely different topic, a completely different topic. So this is a strategy of OET. The OET is trying to deplete your mental energy. Okay, by the time, so again, listening part C is slightly complex, but they don't want you to enter listening part C with full energy. Okay, they want listening part C to be very difficult for you. And what is one cunning method? They give you listening part B questions, right? And listening part B questions, they make all these 6 questions completely different from each other. So you're basically forced to go through 6, subsequent topics in one single stretch, one after the another. So it depletes a lot of your mental energy. And then when you reach listening part C, it is going to be a little bit challenging. So understand, okay, understand what the intent of the OET is and accordingly prepare. Simply, knowing language proficiency is not going to make it. Okay, OET has so many layers into it. Okay, you have to decode each and every layer and accordingly prepare. All right. So simply don't read a lot of English and by heart a lot of English and just expect OET to be easy. This has nothing to do with your language proficiency. It's all about the right skills and the right preparation methods. Right. So here you have to interact with the question paper. Okay, there is a method to interact with the question paper so that you are able to sustain your concentration levels, your focusing levels, and your mindset. Okay, so there will be easy questions here, there will be difficult questions over here, and already the OET listening is very tough. So just imagine if you're already nervous, if you're very nervous, if you're very stressed, if you're very tensed, do you think the OET is going to it will become even more easy? No. Then if it is an easy question, if it's an easy question also, because of your nervous energy, you will actually not be able to find the correct answer. Okay, so your mindset also matters. So these are the things you need to prepare on, not only your language. Okay, so it is not a very superficial exam. This exam has a lot of depth into it. Know it, understand it, have the insight and prepare. Okay, be smart over here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to take some random questions over here, and then we will be discussing the questions and the strategies. Now, just one strategy I want to tell you is that when you get 15 seconds time, so for example, you're doing the 25th question, they give you 15 seconds time. When they give you 15 seconds time, don't read the 26th question, because for 26th question, they're giving you another 15 seconds. Okay, so when they are giving you time to read this question, stick only to this question. During that time, don't read all the other questions, okay, because it is not going to help you. Okay, so that is one thing I just want to say. Now I'm going to take so which question shall we take today? How about we take the last one over here? Okay, so the 30th question we will do first. No, this we have done. Okay, the 28th question we will do today. Okay, the 28th is what we're going to do. So let me just take the audio. So first, I will show you the question and I will give you, access to the audio as well. So you have to do the finding the answer part on your own. Let me see how many of you are able to find the correct answer. No worries, just put in the effort. Your effort is what really matters. Okay, and then I will give you the right strategies. So we have the recorded lectures in the app. So those who want, you can just simply log into the app after the class is done. Okay, so I will definitely be teaching you the 28th question, the right strategies and all that. But before that, I want everyone to go through the question. Okay, so I'll give you 15 seconds time to read the 28th question. Okay, so now I'm going to play the audio. One second. One second, one second, one second. Okay.
I noticed that Mrs. Jones isn't wearing the usual anti-embolism socks, but I didn't want to ask her why not because she was asleep. Is it because her legs are swollen?
Well, sometimes we don't recommend the socks if there's severe swelling with edema, but that's not the case here. Mrs. Jones was actually given them initially on admission last night, but she told us this morning that her lower legs were feeling numb. She described it as having no feeling. Until we've checked out the reason for that, for example, it could be an underlying condition which could damage her arterial circulation. We're reducing the risk of thrombosis by pharmacological means.
Oh, I see.
Right. Okay, so that was not a very easy one. That was a slightly tough one over here. Right. So what's the answer? Okay, so you can just type the answer in the chat box. Now, let's just take a look into the question over here. So understand what is your duty. So if you just simply understand what your duty is, then it becomes very, very, you know, um, clear. Okay, that is what you're supposed to. You need clarity. When it comes to OET, you need clarity, right? So your purpose, your goal, your aim, your ambition is to pass the OET, right? And how do you pass the OET? Simple. You have most of the questions over here are multiple choice questions. You have almost 22, I think not 22, less than 22 questions over here. That is, multiple choice question that is coming from part B and part C. So clarity is the more correct answers you have, the higher will be your scores. Okay. So your duty is to find the correct answer. And what is the question type? The question type over here is multiple choice questions. So they have given you one statement over here, and below the statement, they are giving you a question. Okay. So they are just asking you one specific thing. Okay. They're just asking you one specific thing. They're not asking you two or three things. Just one specific thing. So your focus should be on that. Okay. This is what the OET is asking me to find out. Okay. And then you have to prepare yourself. Okay. You have to go through the answer options. Okay. You must know what to anticipate. And then you have to listen to the audio with an aim. Okay. Don't aimlessly listen to the audio. With an aim, you have to listen to the audio. Okay. And then you have to choose the correct answer option. But in OET, unfortunately, that is not always very easy. Okay, so sometimes you have to also make sure that you are eliminating the incorrect answer options as well. Right. Now, when it comes to the occupational English test, let's understand that we have audios. Okay, we have audios there, and the audio is where the answer is located. But in order for us to find the answer, you need to understand the question. Because if a student is unable to understand what the question is asking you, okay, what the question is asking, then how is it going to be possible for the student to understand the audio? That is to find the answer. Okay, so even though the language over here may be a little bit tough, always put in the effort to understand the question. Okay, and here you have to trust your intuition. Okay, your intuition also is very, very important. And also, as I previously hinted, your thought clarity. Okay, thinking very clearly is also very, very necessary. Okay, so if at all you have a tendency to become nervous or anxious, take one or two deep breaths, right? And then calm yourself down, because the more calm you are, the more clearer your thoughts will be, the more quality of thoughts you will have, and the more easy it will be for you to pinpoint the correct answer. Okay, so all these things are very important. Those who have written the OET previously, they will definitely know what I'm trying to say. Right. So now let's take a look into the question. Right. So let's do what something that's something called as the keyword analysis. So here what I'm trying to do is I'm going to okay, so maybe I'll just type it over here. Okay, so this is something that I always say. For first one is comprehension, that is understanding the question, right? So once you have understood the question, you must not forget the question. Then you must retain the question to your memory. That is what we call as retention. And then comes detection. Okay, so understand the question, know what the OET is demanding from you, register the information to your memory, and then with a focused aim, you try to detect what the answer is. Okay, so just two more things I want to say. When it comes to comprehending the question, you have to have the skill to identify the keywords. Okay, the identification of keywords is very, very important. So once you have identified the keywords, it will be easy for you to grasp the gist of the message. Next is when the audio is playing. Okay, when the audio is playing, you must not read the question. Because see, they are giving you 15 seconds time. They're giving you 15 seconds time to read all these questions over here. But when the audio is playing, the question should be thorough in your mind. When the audio is playing, your eyesight should only be in answer option A, B, and C. Because when the audio is playing, instead of looking at the answer options, if you're looking into the question, you're going to distract yourself, and that will, decrease your chances of getting the answer correctly. Okay, so the small things, it really goes a very long way, okay, to get your desired OET scores. So let's first and foremost comprehend the question. So here you hear a trainee nurse, trainee. Okay, so who's a trainee? Trainee basically means who's under a trainer. Okay, so if I am a trainer, okay, and if I have someone like an intern, it's like someone like a junior, someone who's studying under me, I am the trainer, and that person is called the trainee. Employer means what? A person who gives the job. Employee means what? A person who is working for the person. Interviewer. Who's interviewer? A person who's conducting the interviewer, right? Who's interviewee? Interviewee is basically the person who is being interviewed. Okay, so understand the meaning. So here it is a junior nurse. Okay, you hear a junior nurse asking his senior colleague. So here he is having a conversation with his senior colleague, okay, about the use of anti-embolism socks for a patient. Okay, so there is one patient, and the patient has been prescribed anti-embolism socks. And regarding that, okay, regarding the use of it, the junior doctor is asking a question. Okay, it's basically asking. Now, that is the main situation there. Now, what is the OET asking you? Okay, the OET is asking you to find out the patient is not wearing the socks because. So reason. Okay, so we have a patient over here, and the patient has been prescribed. We actually prescribed anti-embolism socks for the patient, but the patient is not wearing it. Okay, so the junior nurse is very, very curious. Okay, why is the patient not wearing the anti-embolism socks? So the junior nurse is asking this question to his senior, and the senior is explaining. Okay, so from whom will the answer be coming? From whom will the answer come from? The answer will come from the senior. Okay, because this person is asking the question and the senior is answering the question. Okay, regarding the reason why the patient is not wearing the socks. So, what is the trick over here? When you hear the two voices, when you hear the senior nurse and the junior nurse speaking, you must give more importance to the senior nurse, that is the person who is answering the question, because that is where the 99% of the time the answer will be coming from. So this is also very important. Just by reading the question, you must be able to sense who is going to be speaking the answer, right? So that will help you to focus more on that person and pinpoint the right answer. So here, answer option A, answer option B, and answer option C. What are all these? These are all reasons. Okay, the patient is not wearing a socks because. So because of answer option A, the patient is not wearing the socks. Because of answer option B, the person is not wearing socks. Because of answer option C, the answer is not wearing the socks. So all of these answer options are basically reasons why the patient is not wearing the socks. So what's your duty here? Your duty here is to find, okay, why the patient is not wearing the socks, the reason for not wearing the socks. So you remind yourself this. As soon as you read the question, the 15 seconds, you prepare yourself. Okay, I'm listening to a senior nurse. The senior nurse is going to say that this is the reason why. My duty here is to find the reason why the socks is not being worn. Now you see, it gives you a lot more clarity. And like this, that 1% extra clarity will definitely help you when you're doing the listening and reading. Right. So now let's do the keyword analysis. Okay. So we are still in the comprehension part. So on your examination day with your pencil, okay, with your 2B pencil, you have to like underline, circle, okay, make some notes. You can interact with the question paper without any problem. Okay, the only area, so see, this is the area where you will be shading the correct answer, right? So when you're shading the correct answer, this area should be kept very neat and tidy. All other areas of the question paper, you can underline, you can make some notes, you can interact, that is completely allowed. Okay, and that is very important, okay, because you are tired, as I told you, after each question, you become more and more tired and exhausted. So if you're not interactive in the question paper, it is going to be much more difficult. All right, so let's read the answer option A. She's suffering from arterial disease in her legs. Okay, so here, what's the reason? Why is she not wearing the socks? Because she is suffering from arterial disease in her legs. Now, what is the tense over here? ING. That is present continuous tense. That is, as we are speaking currently. Currently, the patient is suffering. So, this is not past tense. This is not future tense. This is present continuous tense. The patient is currently suffering from arterial disease in her legs. And that is the reason why she is not wearing the socks. Okay. Now, answer option B. There is. So, once again, there is tense usage here, present tense. There is sensory loss in her legs. Okay. Sensory loss. Sensory loss, sensation means feeling. Okay. So, there is no feeling. There is no sensation in her legs. Okay. So, because she has no sensation, she is not wearing the socks. Now, answer option C. Okay, her legs are too swollen. Okay, that is, her legs are too swollen. Okay, there has been edema there. Okay, it's too uncomfortable for the patient to wear the socks. So, like this, you have to visualize. Okay, that visualize. That's the reason why if you go to my app, if you go through the slides and all, you can see that I have given you pictures, videos, and animations. That is to visualize. So see, when you are reading, her legs are too swollen, then visualize the patient is laying on a bed and both her legs are very, very swollen. Imagine that she is having sensory loss. That is, she has no feeling. There is no sensation in her legs. Imagine that she is suffering from arterial disease, and that is why she is not wearing. So that ability to visualize what you have read. Okay, so for example, we have Harry Potter. Okay, so how many of you have seen the movie Harry Potter? Okay, or let's say any other novel. Okay, so we have so many famous novels that has been made into movies, right? So let me ask you a question. When you read a novel and when you see the or when you see a movie of the same novel, what which medium is going to be more thorough in your memory? The reading part or the movie part? Of course, the movie, right? Because you're visually seeing it. Okay. Visually, you're able to see, and the brain is able to grasp onto it. Okay. You can remember that scene for a very, very long time. Okay. But if you're reading it, okay, there is not much visual sensation going about. So you will tend to forget it more easily. Okay. So this is another tip that I'm giving you. Right. So try to visualize. So your brain is able to catch the information much more better. Okay. So like that. Okay, so small tips along the way. Now let's identify the verb over here. Okay, the verb analysis will help you to pinpoint the right answer much more easily. So here, what is the verb in answer option A? She is suffering. Okay, so she is suffering from arterial disease in her legs. Okay, so because she is suffering from arterial disease, okay, so this particular disease she is not wearing the socks. Right. Now, let's come to the verb in answer option B. So what is the verb analysis? Verb means movement. So what is the movement of any kind of action? Loss. Okay, so we can say there is sensory loss. So this is the verb over here. And because she is having sensory loss in her legs, she is not wearing the socks. Now, what is the verb in answer option C? Okay, so in C, there is basically no verb over here. They have just given you the information that is too swollen. The legs are too swollen, and that's the main reason why she is not wearing the socks. Okay, so again, on the examination day, you must be able to do it a little bit more easily. Okay, so here I'm giving you the guidance. Okay, it is completely up to you to work your brain to visualize and, with consistent practice, be able to get the answer as soon as possible. Okay, so now you have understood the question. Okay, my duty here is to listen to a senior nurse who is going to answer the junior nurse question about why the patient is not wearing the socks, and my duty is to find why the patient is not wearing it. So the reasons are she's suffering from a particular disease, she's having sensory loss, she's having her legs are too swollen. Now, like this, what you have to imprint. So comprehension you have done. Okay, now you have to practice retention. That is, you have to register everything to your memory. Okay, you must not forget the question. And now when the audio is playing, okay, when the audio is playing, your eyesight should only be in the answer options. The question should be thorough. Senior nurse, junior nurse, anti-embolism socks, why she is not wearing. That should be thorough. do not read the question when the answer option is going to be played, because your eyesight should only be here. And as you hear each and every answer option, you must be able to like eliminate the incorrect answer options and at the same time suspect that this could be the correct answer. Right. So let me just take the audio script over here. So this is the 28th question. Yeah. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the audio script over here and then I'll play you the audio so that it makes a little bit more sense. Right, so let's take the audio script for the 28th question. Okay, right. So here the junior nurse is saying, I noticed that Mrs. Jones is not wearing the usual anti-embolism socks, but I didn't want to ask her why. Not because she was asleep. Is it because her legs are swollen? Okay, so here, as you know, you can expect, okay, the junior nurse is going to be asking this question because it has already been mentioned. The junior nurse will be asking this to the senior nurse. So this junior nurse is saying, I noticed that this patient is not wearing the socks. Okay, but I did not ask her. That is, the junior nurse did not go directly to the patient and ask her because why? The patient was sleeping. Now, the nurse is asking, is it because her legs are swollen? So, what do you understand? We understand that her legs are swollen. Okay, the patient's legs are actually swollen. The patient is having swollen legs. Now, as soon as you hear that, your eyesight, so as I told you, your eyesight, okay, should only be in the answer options. Now, as soon as you hear this word, okay, too swollen, when you reach this point, your eyesight should come to answer option C. Okay, your eyesight should not be in answer option A, should not be in B, it should be in answer option C. Okay, and now you have to you can now you have to wait for confirmation. You have to wait for confirmation whether it is because her legs are too swollen, she is not wearing the socks. Okay, so we understand the patient's legs are swollen. The patient is having swollen legs, but we need to confirm that that is the reason why she is not wearing the socks. Right. So let's wait what the senior nurse is going to say. And you already know the answer is going to come from this person. So when this person is speaking, you have to be very, very attentive. Right. So let's see what the senior nurse is saying. So here the nurse is saying, well, sometimes we don't recommend the socks. Sometimes, okay, sometimes we don't recommend the socks if there is severe swelling with edema. So this is the British spelling. OEDEMA is a British spelling. American spelling, the O is not going to be there. It is just going to be EDMA. Okay, so just for additional information. Okay, so here the nurse is saying if it is going to be severe swelling. Okay, sometimes socks will not be recommended if severe swelling is there with edema. But here, what is he saying? That is not the case here. Not the case. Okay, so there are two things I want to highlight over here. The first thing over here is they are asking, is it because the patient's legs are swollen? And now we are waiting. So we are now your eyesight is in answer option C. Okay, and you're waiting for the confirmation whether this is the reason why she is not wearing the legs. Okay, so now they are taking the senior nurse is saying, well, sometimes, okay, if there is very severe swelling, we do not recommend the patient to wear the socks. Now, what is this word over here? But. Okay, so but is basically a discourse marker. Okay, so this is something that I have discussed earlier. Discourse markers are basically signals. Okay, signals of a change in message. Right. So there are several discourse markers such as but, however, although, even though, I guess. Okay. So if I want, after the session is done, I will share you the, document once again. Now, but is going to be a contrasting word is going to come. Okay. So when we use the word but, okay, we can say now an opposite information is going to come. So for example, we can say, what can I say? Okay, I really like playing in the rain, but unfortunately, I'm having fever. Okay, so what does that mean? I like playing in the rain, but I have fever. So therefore, I'm not going to play in the rain. right? I really like traveling, but I don't have a bike. Okay, I like traveling. So see, I like traveling, but I don't have a bike. So when you hear the word but, you can say now an opposite information is going to come. I really like eating ice cream, but I am on a diet. Okay, so that is what we call as a discourse marker. And discourse markers are basically signals that convey a change in message is going to come. So when you're hearing, okay, sometimes if there is severe edema, severe swelling, we tell the patients to not wear the socks. So you're hoping that C is the right answer. Then what happens? They're telling the word but. So now you can say, okay, now the opposite information is coming. And what's the opposite information? You're saying that is not the case here. That is not the case. That is not the situation here. As soon as you hear that, what will you do? You will eliminate answer option C, right? It is what is mentioned. Is her legs are swollen is mentioned. Is the patient's leg swollen? Yes, that is the her legs are swollen. But is that the reason why she is not wearing the socks? No, that is not the reason why. Okay, in this situation, that is not the case. So as soon as you are able to understand that, you should be able to eliminate answer option C. So in A, B, and C, the very first answer option you will eliminate is answer option C. Now you have 50-50 chance. Now it is either A or it is either B. Now you see, now it's a game of luck. Say at least one if you eliminate, then you have 50-50 chance, right? So if you're a little bit lucky, even if you don't understand the right answer, 50-50 chance, at least you may get it to the correct answer, right? So that is what sometimes you can do, right? So now let's continue to hear what the senior nurse is saying. Now, the senior nurse is saying, Mrs. Jones was actually given them initially on admission last night. That is yesterday when she came, we gave her the socks. Right. Now, once again, immediately, so see the word but. But is a discourse marker. Now, an opposite information is going to come. She was given the socks initially on admission, but she told us this morning, today morning, she told that her lower legs were feeling numb. N-U-M-B. That is what? Sensation loss. Okay, so if when there is no feeling, when there is no sensation, that is what we call as numbness. Okay, we are all medical professionals here, so you can understand that. So now where is your eyesight going to be? Okay, now your eyesight will be in answer option B, because numbness, that is the synonym. Okay, so that is the paraphrase version over here. As soon as you hear the word numb, your eyesight should come to answer option B. And now you have to decide whether to eliminate answer option B or whether to suspect it as the correct answer. Right. So now let's see what the person is saying. Yesterday she was given the socks, but okay, so opposite information is coming. This morning she told that her lower legs, that is her legs, were feeling numb. She described it as having no feeling. Now you see the repetition is coming, numb, no feeling, right? And then they're saying until we have checked out the reason for that. Until means what? That is, they're talking about the timeline. Okay, until we have checked out the reason for that. That is, they don't know why. They don't know why her legs are swollen. So they need some time. The medical staff, they need some time to check. They need to find out why her legs are swollen. For example, it could be an underlying condition which could damage her arterial circulation. Now you see over here, what is the tense usage here? It could be, okay, that is, it is a suspicion. Okay, that is, we are suspecting that she is having an existing condition. Okay, the reason. So we don't know why her legs are numb, but here they're telling, okay, for example, it could be an underlying condition. Okay, it could be an existing condition, but we don't know. We need to confirm it. Okay, which could damage her arterial circulation. Now see, which could damage her. So what is the tense over here? You tell me. Is it present tense or is it future tense or is it past tense? Which could damage her arterial circulation. So she is having one existing condition. We don't know what that condition is, but this nurse is telling, okay, this condition, we don't know what it is, but this condition could damage her arterial circulation. That means in the future, okay, in the future, her arterial circulation can become damaged. Okay, so arterial circulation damage may happen in the future. But what did we hear in answer option A? What is the tense over here? Here, as you can see, it is not future tense. Here it is present continuous tense. She is suffering from arterial disease. But in the audio, they're saying she is not having any arterial disease. In the future, she can develop an arterial disease. Right. So you can now eliminate answer option A, right? So what will you do? So first you have eliminated answer option C, okay, and now you have eliminated answer option A. And they have already hinted, okay, they gave you a hint, okay, there is no feeling, there is numbness. So you suspect that answer option B is the right answer. Now see, now you have eliminated answer option C, you have eliminated answer option A. So by default, what is the answer going to be? The answer option is going to be B option. Right. So like this, you have to give importance to the tense usage. Okay. You have to know what, here it is present tense, but in the future, they're talking, in the audio, they're talking about future tense. Right. So all these things are being tested. Okay. And we are reducing the risk of thrombosis by pharmacological means. So they want to reduce the risk of thrombosis. Okay. Thrombosis, I think blood clotting. Okay. I think that's it. Okay. By pharmacological means. Right. So here, as I told you, when it comes to listening and reading, we are dealing with multiple choice questions. So it is not always going to be very easy and straightforward to simply choose the correct answer. Choosing the correct answer also, if you're able to do, you must be able to say why the other answer options are incorrect. Okay. So now I'm going to play you the audio once again. You read the questions once again over here. You have 15 seconds time. Okay. You read the question. You understand what is the question asking you. You understand from whom the answer is going to come. You do the keyword analysis. You do the verb analysis. And then when you're listening to the audio, your eyesight should only be here. Right. And then the very first answer option that you should eliminate is answer option C. Then you should go to answer option B. Okay, but we are not confirming it. Okay, we cannot confirm answer option B as the right answer. They're simply saying it. There is sensory loss, there is no feeling. But we can confirm B as the right answer only when we are able to eliminate answer option A because of the tense usage. Here it is suffering, there it could be, there it is future tense. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. Okay, so I'm going to show you the question once again and I'm going to play you the audio. Right, so let me take the audio once again. So we have the app over here. Okay, so use it to your advantage. Okay, so read the question. Okay, so now I'm going to play you the audio. So practice the elimination strategy, understand the tense usage, and then finally, you cannot simply choose answer option B as the correct answer. It is only after you have eliminated answer option A, you can confirm B as the correct answer. So here, the elimination strategy is the most right way. Okay, so I'm going to play the audio now, the audio script.
I noticed that Mrs. Jones isn't wearing the usual anti-embolism socks, but I didn't want to ask her why not because she was asleep. Is it because her legs are swollen?
Well, sometimes we don't recommend the socks if there's severe swelling with edema, but that's not the case here. Mrs. Jones was actually given them initially on admission last night, but she told us this morning that her lower legs were feeling numb. She described it as having no feeling. Until we've checked out the reason for that, for example, it could be an underlying condition which could damage her arterial circulation. We're reducing the risk of thrombosis by pharmacological means.
Oh, I see.
Right. Okay. So part B questions, even though they are little bit tinier compared to part C, they can be very, very complex as well. Okay, so what are the skills you need over here? So see, here a student is having very good English language skills. That is not enough. Here, the student must be able to anticipate from whom the answer is going to come from. They must be able to identify what the question is asking them. They must be able to identify the keywords over here, right? And they must have, proper elimination, strategies with them. And also, they must be able to have very good, tense awareness as well. So there it is future tense, here it is present tense. All of these things in harmony together, it has to work. And right now we are not in a stressful environment. In the examination day, you are practicing the listening and reading in a very tense and stressful situation, right? So you will have to like really bring on your A game. That is, you have to have a very clear action plan and do the best performance that you possibly can. Don't overthink too much. Trust your intuition and take things forward. Be very clear as well. So the method in which you're doing the listening and the environment, okay, in which you're doing the mind, the internal environment as well as the external environment should be very calm. All right, so now let's do maybe just one more question over here. I think we have all done this. Here, members of a hospital committee discussing problems in the X-ray department. Okay, so this is basically, how about we do this one today? Okay, so just read the 25th question. I'm going to tell you to read, you can read. Or do you want a slightly different question? And so you hear a dietitian talking to the patient, misconception. Problem with a particular machine. Okay, so I'm going to choose a little bit tough one. Okay, so the other two questions are a little bit easy. So let's just take a little bit tough one over here. So the difficult questions, the more we practice, the easier the other questions will be. Okay. All right. So not an easy one. Think very clearly. Okay. And it doesn't matter if your answer goes wrong. So you have 15 seconds time to read the 27th question. So try to understand from whom the answer is going to come. Try to understand what the OET is asking you to find out. Give importance to the keywords. Give importance to the verbs here as well. And when the audio is playing, your eyesight should only be in the answer options. Okay, so I'm going to play the audio now.
Okay, that went quite well, didn't it? But it took you a while to work out where the CPR board was kept.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about this scenario?
We need to check where things are before doing anything else.
Exactly. And of course, it takes a second or two to put the head of the bed down because you've got to have that part of the bed flat before you slip the board in. I wish there was a quicker way.
So do I put the CPR board under, or would I normally hand it over to somebody else?
It makes no difference as long as it's done.
All right. Now let's go through the. Okay, that's a tough one. No, not an easy one. It's a little bit tough one. If you want, I can repeat the question, audio once again. Do you want?
Can you please repeat the audio once again?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so here the trickiest accents are the, the Australian accents. All right, so here's an Australian accent, slightly tricky ones. So let's just play the audio once again. It's a difficult question. So everyone listen very attentively. Okay, so this is how we learn listening. Okay, it's not at all an issue.
Okay, that went quite well, didn't it? But it took you a while to work out where the CPR board was kept.
Yeah.
So what does that tell you about this scenario?
We need to check where things are before doing anything else.
Exactly. And of course, it takes a second or two to put the head of the bed down because you've got to have that part of the bed flat before you slip the board in. I wish there was a quicker way.
So do I put the CPR board under, or would I normally hand it over to somebody else?
It makes no difference as long as it's done.
All right. Now let's go through the audio script in simple terms. Okay, so here the only strategy that is going to work over here is the elimination strategy. Right. I'll tell you why. So they give you 15 seconds time. So let's read the question. Okay, so tough question. I deliberately, purposefully chose a tough question over here. Anyway, let's just come to the 27th question. Let's talk about the strategies. Okay, so they give you 15 seconds time. So let's understand our duty here. You hear a senior nurse. Okay, so we are listening to a senior nurse giving feedback. Okay, giving feedback to a trainee after a training exercise. So again, as I told you, visualize. Okay, your mind should have see, if you read a novel, but if you see a movie, the memory is going to be much stronger if it is a movie, right? So that is the power of visualization. Okay, so try to visualize that, bring in the practice. And even when the audio is playing also, when you're listening to the audio also, there also we're bringing, again, I know it is tough, but if you're bringing in some visualization practice there, it will help you out. Okay, so here again, to just imagine two nurses, a senior nurse giving feedback to a trainee after a training exercise. Okay, so they finished with an exercise. Now the trainee is receiving, the junior nurse is receiving a feedback. Now, what is the question asking you? The question is asking you, the trainee accepts that he failed to. Okay, so the junior nurse over here, he failed at something. Okay, that this was an exercise. Okay, but he did not succeed. He actually failed at something. Okay, and he is accepting it. Okay, he is accepting that he failed at something, and your duty is to find in which aspect he failed. Okay, so answer option A, answer option B, and answer option C, what are all they? Okay, they are all things that activities in which he failed. So maybe he failed to do answer option A, maybe he failed to do answer option B, maybe he failed to answer option C. So you must know exactly, okay, my duty here is to find which my duty is to find, that is basically in which activity did he fail to do, that is in which activity did he experience failure, that is he did not succeed in it. Okay, is it A, B, or C? In which part where was he unsuccessful? Okay, so now let's take a look into the keywords over here. Now, what's the keyword over here? Locate the CPR board quickly enough. So CPR, so so that is resuscitation, like it is when we are trying to revive a person. Okay, when we are trying to revive a person, we give them CPR, right? So here there is something called the CPR board. Okay, there is a equipment. So there's an equipment. It's called the CPR board, and he failed. He failed to locate. Locate means what? To find out, to find the location. Okay, he failed to find the location of the CPR board quickly. Okay, that is it took him a very long time. Okay, so here he is saying he was not able to find the location of the CPR board very quickly. It took him a very long time. Okay, so that is where he failed. Okay, in a very short time, he was not able to find where the CPR board was kept. Now, answer option B, he failed. Okay, he experienced a failure to deal with the CPR board on his own. So, what does this mean? Okay, he failed to deal with it on his own. That is, he wanted someone's help. Okay, he could not deal with the board on his own. So, he needed help from someone else. Okay, that is the meaning of answer option B. He was not able to, he failed. Okay, he did not succeed to deal with the CPR board individually on his own. Answer option C. Install the CPR board correctly. So he failed to install the CPR board correctly. Okay, that is the positioning. Okay, the board we have to position it very carefully, and he was not able to install it in the right position correctly. Right. So this is what we call as keyword analysis. But unlike the previous question, here, even though the audio was tough, if you give importance to the verbs, it becomes easy. Okay, so the verb analysis. The verb analysis, let's do it. Now, what are verbs? Verbs are basically actions. Okay, so any kind of an action, any kind of a movement is what we call as a verb. Now, you tell me what are the verbs over here? Locate the CPR board quickly enough. So, what is the main focal verb over here? Locate. Okay, this is the action. Right, yeah, very good. Okay, he was not able to locate it, the CPR board quickly. So, and these are keywords. Okay, so we have keyword analysis and then we have verb analysis. Don't mix them together. A verb can also become, and verb can also be a keyword. Okay, so a single word can be both a keyword as well as the verb over here. Right, so anyway, this is the verb in answer option A. So he failed to locate it. Okay. Now let's take a look into answer option B. What is the verb over here? Deal. Okay. He was not able to deal with it on his own. So this is what he failed. Answer option C. He was not able to install. So what is the verb over installation? Okay. Install the verb, install the CPR board correctly. Now you see, when you have done the verb analysis, the answer options become little bit more manageable for you, right? So he failed to locate, he failed to deal with it on his own, he failed to install it. Now, if you're very much focused on these focal points, that is the verbs, it becomes, tiny bit easier for you to pinpoint the right answer. Okay, so now you have comprehended the question, and now you have to retain into your memory. Okay, the trainee is accepting that he failed to do something. In what did he fail to do? Okay, so locate, deal, or install. So once you have comprehended the question, once you have retained the question to your memory, now when the audio is playing, your eyesight should only be in the answer options. And when it comes to multiple choice questions, more than choosing the correct answer, you must be able to eliminate the incorrect answer options. Okay, so now let's take a look into the audio script first, and then we will play the audio once again. Right, so let's go to the 27th question. Okay, so this is a conversation between a senior nurse and a trainee nurse. Now, the exercise is finished. Now the person is giving feedback, right? So the senior nurse is saying, okay, that went quite well, didn't it? So this is a question. Okay, the senior nurse is asking, yeah, so the training exercise went quite well, didn't it? But here the senior nurse is asking, but now you see the word but, always give importance of word but. So see, in the beginning, yeah, in the beginning, they are telling, what is the person telling? That it went well, right? The exercise went well. Now the word but is coming. So from positive, it is going to be a negative information. Now this is a positive information, right? Okay, the training exercise went well. Okay, didn't it? Now but is coming. So from positive, you can say now a negative information is going to come. Now what's the negative information? Even though it went well, it took you a while. It took you a while to work out, okay, where the CPR board was kept. Okay, so see, it took you a while, they're saying. So that they're basically talking about the time factor. So now your eyesight should be coming to answer option A. Okay, quickly. The keyword over is quickly. So time factor. It took you a while. Okay, now the person's asking, it took you a while. It took you a long time to locate, that is to work out where this again. This is the reason why I conduct the quiz earlier. Okay, the words they use. Okay, to work out basically means to locate. In OET, they try to give you these type of words. So you really have to understand what these words mean. Okay, workout does not mean an exercising over here. Workout basically in this context, it means to find out, to locate. Okay, to solve. Workout basically to work out a solution. Okay, work on your problems. That is to solve. That is, it took you a while to solve where the CPR board was kept. See, kept. So we keep certain things in a location, right? We keep certain things in a location. Okay, so what does that tell you about this scenario? Okay, so here the fact, what is the fact over here? It went very well, but what was the negative information? It took you a very long time to find where the CPR board is kept. Okay, so the person is saying that in the very beginning, the first 2 seconds itself, the answer is there. And then the senior nurse is asking, what does this tell you about this scenario? Scenario means situation. Now the junior nurse, junior trainee is going to say, we need to check where things are before doing anything. So what is the lesson? What lesson did the junior nurse learn? So this is a training exercise. Now he learned. So he took him a lot of time for him to find where the CPR board is, right? And he is accepting it. So he's accepting, yeah. And I learned my lesson as well. So what is the lesson? That before doing anything else, that we have to check where things are before. Right. So when you listen to the answer option, okay, the words quickly, CPR board, okay, kept. These are the words that is coming in the very beginning itself. So as that's the reason why I'm telling you, do not read the questions when the answer option is playing. So in the very first second, the very first 1 or 2 seconds itself, they're directly coming to the answer option A. So you must be able to immediately come to answer option A. Right. And here they're talking, but the word is not, the exact words are not mentioned. Locate is not mentioned. Quickly is not mentioned. Instead of that, a very indirect way of speaking is mentioned. Okay, so that is why comprehension. That is why if you do not understand the question, then there is no point. If you're unable to understand the question, then there is no meaning to, do the listenings. Okay, so try your best. Try again. It is not every time, it is not going to be easy to understand the question, but try your best to always give importance to the question and prioritize it. So now you must be able to put a question mark over here. Okay, because the training here, the senior nurse is telling it took you a while. Okay, so again, it took you a while basically means what? It took, okay, it was not done very quickly. Okay, very long time. Okay, this is not, this is mentioned, the CPR board, this keyword is also mentioned, the word kept. Now, see, all these words are indirectly mentioned, not exactly, but locate, kept. Okay, the position. CPR board is mentioned. Okay, the word quickly, the time frame is also being mentioned, right? Quickly, but in the answer option, it was, in the audio script, it was long enough. It took them a long while. So everything is mentioned and the trainee is accepting it. He is not denying it. Okay, he is accepting, yeah, this is the situation. I accept it. And what was the lesson? Yeah, the lesson over here is, before doing anything, I need to check where everything is mentioned. So instead of choosing answer option A as the correct answer, at least you can put a question mark. Okay, you can put a question mark there because you suspect A to be the right answer. Right. Now let's keep reading. Okay, let's keep reading the audio script over here. Now the senior nurse is telling exactly. And of course, it takes a second or two. Okay, so now that once again they're talking about the time. Okay, they're talking about the time period over here. It takes a second or two to put the head of the bed down. But here they're telling regarding the head. Head basically means what? The top portion of the bed. That is where we keep the pillow. That is where we call the head of the bed. Okay, so it takes 1 or 2 seconds to put the head of the bed down because you have got to have that part of the bed flat before you slip the board in. Okay, so again, these are all very, information that is not really related to the answer. But let me just try to give you the meaning of it. So here the senior nurse is saying, of course, it takes 1 second or it takes 2 seconds. It takes some time to put the head of the bed down. That is the top portion of the head to put it down. You need some time. And why? Why does it require time? Because you got to have that part of the bed flat. Okay, so see, when the patient is, we are giving CPR to the patient. Okay, so that the area where the patient's head is going to be, so the patient is lying flat, the patient is lying flat on the bed. Okay, so the head should not be elevated, there should not be any pillow there. Okay, the bed should be flat. Okay, before you slip the board in. Okay, so in the bed they have to, the CPR board, you have to slip the CPR board inside. Okay, I wish there was a quicker way. Now you see here also they're giving you some hints over here. I wish there was a quicker way. So here the senior nurse is saying, this procedure takes a very long time. Okay, it takes a very long time. I wish there was an easier way, but there is no quicker way. This is the method in which it has to be done, and it definitely takes some time. Okay, so again, they're trying to trick you over here. But anyway, let's come to answer option. The next sentence is over here. So here the trainee is asking, so do I put the CPR board under, or where would I normally hand it, or would I normally hand it over to somebody else? Now you see over here, somebody else. This time you have to come to answer option B. Okay, because what is answer option B telling you? The patient, I mean the trainee failed to deal with the CPR board on his own. That is, he needed someone's help. He was not able to do it by himself. He needed someone's help. That is what answer option B is telling us. So now in this sentence, your eyesight should come to answer option B. So here the trainee is asking, so do I put the CPR board under, that is below, or would I normally hand it over to somebody else? Okay, so should I put it down or should I give it to somebody else? Now the senior nurse is saying it makes no difference. That means there is no difference as long as it's done. Okay, that is the activity. So as long as the activity is done, it does not matter whether you keep it under the bed or you give it to somebody else. Basically, each and every sentence over here is completely different from each other. Okay, so we look very closely. So now let's do the elimination strategy. Now let's talk about answer option B. Now what is the verb over here? Again, there is no need for you to understand everything in full detail. You just have to give importance to the verbs. Okay, locate the CPR board quickly. Now is the word locate mentioned? Okay, yeah, it is mentioned, right? Where it is kept, the verb is mentioned over there. Now what is the verb in answer option B? Deal with the CPR board on his own. So is that mentioned basically anywhere? That is, the patient failed to handle the CPR board without anyone's help. The dealing part is not mentioned. Okay, you will be able, once again, when you play the audio, you will be able to understand there is no dealing. That is, he failed to deal with it on his own. And next is answer option C, installing. Okay, installing the CPR board correctly. Okay, so the installation process they are talking about, installation is mentioned, but there they are talking about the timeline. That is, installing the CPR board takes a lot of time. Okay, it is not about it is not about installing it correctly. They're talking about installation of the CPR board takes a lot of time. So again, I have to again see this, even with the audio script is very tough. Right. So here, what is the see, where is the installation process coming? Here they're telling, yeah, see, this is where the installation is. Of course, it takes 1 second or two, okay, to put the head. Now, see, we are installing. How do we install the board? Okay, you have to spend at least 1 or 2 seconds to put the head of the bed down, because the bed has to be flat, and then you have to install. So see, this is where the installation is. You slip the board in. That is, you're installing the board in. But what is the verb over here? I wish there was a quicker way. So here they're telling, installing the board takes a lot of time. Okay, installing the board is taking a lot of time, but the answer is here they're telling installing the board was not done correctly by the person. Okay, so that is the thing over here. So we can't really choose that. So this is a very tough question over here. But the best that you can do, is the elimination strategy. So give importance to the verbs. Okay, locate, deal, install. Okay, and then okay, the trainee failed to do something. In what did he fail? Was it to locate? Was it to deal? Was it to install? And then sometimes they give you another 5 seconds. So you have to like listen very attentively. And then, okay, was dealing mentioned? Was installing it mentioned? Was location mentioned? Like that, you have to like, sometimes you may have to reflect on it and then choose the correct answer. Okay, so it is going to be impossible most of the times for you to get 42 out of 42 in listening and reading. That is, even the most experienced people will really struggle to get 42 out of 42. OET will never do that because it directly impacts the reputation they hold. OET has a reputation to hold, and therefore 1 or 2 questions will be very tough. Okay. Otherwise, everyone will mock OET, right? So, unfortunately, this happens to be a very advanced level of question. So here, what do we learn? Okay, thus the lesson over here is to emphasize on the elimination strategy, the verb analysis, the keyword analysis, and when the audio is playing, do not read the question. Now, see, your eyesight should directly come to the answer options because the first 1 or 2 seconds itself, they're telling the answer. Okay, so just do this. So now you have a little bit idea. You have a small idea regarding the audio script and you have a small idea regarding the question. Okay, so just read it one more time. Okay, read the question just one more time and then I'll play you the audio once again. Right, so just give me a second. Let me just rewind the audio. Yes, so read the question once again. Okay, so I'm going to play you the audio now.
Okay, that went quite well, didn't it? But it took you a while to work out where the CPR board was kept.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell you about this scenario?
We need to check where things are before doing anything else.
Exactly. And of course, it takes a second or two to put the head of the bed down because you've got to have that part of the bed flat before you slip the board in. I wish there was a quicker way.
So do I put the CPR board under or would I normally hand it over to somebody else?
It makes no difference as long as it's done.
All right. Now, so another thing is, see, when you're listening to the audio script, it is little bit easier, okay? Because see, when they are speaking, no, they bring in the right tone, okay? See, when they're asking the feedback and the person is accepting, no, he's saying yeah, okay? So sometimes when you're reading the audio script, it is very tough, okay, to explain. But when you're listening to the audio, it becomes a little bit more easy because they're speaking in a specific tone, okay? The rhythm, the speed in which they speak and all is going to make it a little bit more easier for you to catch the information. Right. Now you see over here, this is a tough question. And this is why I have, spent a lot of time making these recorded lectures and giving you 24/7 access to the lectures. So see, for each and every question, okay, so for example, this is the 27th question, right? So I have listed the question over here in the audio in the app, and then I have like translations in Indian languages, right? And then see visualizing. Now see, he fails to accept. So see, fail. So like this, you have to visualize. Okay, the trainee over here, he failed. So my duty here is to find out in which he failed over here. So like that with images, I explain everything. Now you see, locate the CPR board. So this is a CPR. Okay, so that process what we call a CPR. Now you must be able to. Okay, the training exercise. Okay, the person is learning how to save a person, and for that they need a CPR board. Now you see, with videos and images and all, I have given you the explanations over here, and then I have given you a easier to explanation. The trainee acknowledges. So now you have to link the answer option A to the question. So answer option A is the trainee acknowledges that he did not find the CPR board promptly enough. So again, the translations in 1 or 2 Indian languages has been given over here. Okay, and for similarly for answer option B, deal with the CPR board on its own. Right, the translations have been given, explanations have been given, and then finally C option as well. Right, and then I play you the audio. Okay, so then the audio I play, and here also I do highlight where the answer is located. Now see here in green color I have highlighted. It took you a while to work out where the CPR board was kept. What does this tell you about the scenario? And here the person saying, yeah, I'm accepting it, and the lesson is I need to check where things are done, things are before doing anything else. So that also I have done, right? And then you can see over here, there is a simplified version of that. See, the language in OET is a little bit complex, right? The language in OET is a little bit complex over here. So in simplified English, that is point by point, I have given you a simplified explanation as well. Now you see, it did take you a bit of time to find where the CPR board was stored. What lesson can you draw from the situation? See here in my own simplified version, I have given you the sentences. so that you're able to, so even if you find that is the audio was tough for you, with these slides it is becoming a little bit more easy. Okay, so that also you will be able to get access. And then for that also we have the translations over here. Okay, that is in Hindi and Malayalam and all, we have the translations. And then what's the answer? So answer option A is the answer. Okay, and here you can see I have explained the answer option A, that is why answer option A is correct. Okay, so here it is justified. Okay, the nurse is giving feedback. She mentions it took the trainee a while to work out where the CPR board was kept. The trainee acknowledges this by saying, we need to check. So like that, an explanation like why A is the answer. Okay, that explanation has also been given to you. Okay, so you can use that to your advantage. And then to understand why B is wrong and why C is wrong. Now see, B answer option is wrong. Deal with CPR board is on. So why B is wrong? That also I have given you over here. Okay, so like this, you get very detailed lectures. Okay, very detailed lectures clarifying each and every doubt over here. Okay, so like that, and this we have given you access 24/7, and you can do it anytime, anywhere, traveling, or if you have any free time and all. So use it to your advantage. Okay, because it is not easy. So if you have a little bit idea how difficult it is to make one slide, you know how difficult it was for me to make thousands and thousands of slides. Okay, so it is easily 24/7 available to you. If you're practicing it, all the good, right? And make some notes. Okay, so that's why I told you have a notebook with you. Okay, sometimes you, and especially when you come across very difficult questions, you have to like make some notes. Now see over here, after each question, this is how you have to reflect. So once you have done a very difficult question, again, during the preparation phase, you have to reflect. That is, you do a listening, you do a reading. Now you have to reflect. So that's what we call as a reflection moment. So you have to take your printed question paper. After doing the entire listening, that is this particular question, look at the question that we discussed. Figure out, that is, find out what the question is asking, right? Listen to the audio on the answer options. Practice to find the answer by eliminating the incorrect answer options. Choose the correct answer, making sure you have understood well, and then you appreciate yourself for your efforts and dedication to the learning process. And that is when, like this, you finish one answer, and then you have to go to the 20th question. Right. So this is how basically the toughest. So listening is usually the toughest exam over here, and this extra commitment may be required. Okay, it may be required to really get the best desired scores. But for that, ultimately, you have to be able to commit and dedicate yourself to the preparation process. Right. So that is what it is. So yeah, you can access the app. Those who do not have access to the app, just let me know, because sometimes the app access, it gets revoked automatically. So will you just inform me, like I'll give you access to the app once again. Right. So this is the 27th question. So let's have a small recap of what we discussed today. Right. So when it comes to listening, part B, it is always going to be workplace extracts. Okay. And all the questions will be multiple choice questions, which means your elimination strategy needs to be very strong. That is, not only choosing the correct answer, you must be able to eliminate this is incorrect answer, this is incorrect answer. But for that, you need to have, the verb analysis. That is, you must be able to understand what the verbs are, link them together, and, be very attentive. Then what? Comprehension. Okay, that and all is very important. Comprehension is important. Then what else? Retention, right? Retention is important. Then what else is important? Detection, right? And then when the audio is playing, your eyesight should only be in the answer options. Okay, your eyesight, that is your vision, should only be on the options. Do not, so if a question, if a student, see the previous question that we did, if a student is reading the question when the audio is going to playing, do you think that student will be able to choose answer option A as the right answer? No, because they were distracting themselves. So that's why the question should be thorough. Retention of the question should be thorough. And next you have to, detect what the answer is, and you have to give importance to the answer options. And again, nervousness, Okay, self-doubt. Okay, these are all your enemies over here. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Everyone has their own talent, everyone has their own potential. Okay, just because another person is able to get one answer correct and you're not, that does not mean you have to blame yourself or criticize yourself and all. Okay, so it is all about progress. And on the examination day, I can assure you the questions are going to be much, much easier. The sample questions are deliberately tough. And the textbook materials are also tough. Okay, but this has been done by purpose. So don't assume that every single question is going to be of that same difficulty. There'll be easy questions, but there will be difficult questions as well. So if you get a difficult question, if one answer goes wrong, no problem. Okay, don't criticize yourself unnecessarily. If an answer goes wrong, you have 42 questions in total. Just move on to the next question and you try your best over there. Because if your mind is not calm, okay, if your mind is not calm, then there will be no clarity. And if there is no clarity, you will really struggle to find the answer. Okay, so more than your language. So if any one of you here, so we practice, so see today, purposefully I chose very tough questions. Okay, and the reason why I chose it because is to tell you that more than your language proficiency, it is your ability to stay calm, to think very logically and rationally. That is even more important because the OET wants you to perform under pressure, right? Your ability to perform under pressure is tested. Okay, that is the skill that you have to develop. Okay, so you will be under a very pressured situation, but that is when, say, for example, let's say, you see a street cricket playing, okay, street cricket, like, two small kids are playing cricket. If they win the game, if they lose the game, no problem. So everyone will do their best performance. But you put the kids on live television, okay, so many people are watching them live. Okay, now even the best batsman who is very, very talented, or the best bowler who is very, very talented, the whole world is watching. If they lose the game, the entire country is going to, blame them. What is the mental state going to be? They're going to be in a very high pressure situation, and because of that pressure, they crack. Right. But this is what the skill over here is. You must be able to perform under pressure. Okay, so they will test you. The OET will test you like this, but you have to push yourself through. But so during the preparation phase, you practice, you try to develop the skills, and on examination day, you just execute it to the best of your ability. That's the best you can do, right? So like that. So like this, you have to make sure that you are practicing. And again, consistency is very important. Commitment, not consistency. I understand that everyone over here has their own work responsibilities, other responsibilities, and time is a luxury. Okay, so let's understand. Like even for me also, the reason why I take classes only in the night time is because usually previously I used to take classes in the morning time. For me, time is a very big luxury. I'm not getting time for myself. Again, everything I have to manage and stuff. So commitment factor, even if you're able to commit just 10 minutes per day or even just 15 minutes per day, commit to it, but practice very smart work is important, right? So when you work like this, okay, slowly, if it is result oriented practice, it will become better. And most importantly, cannot emphasize this enough. Okay, so there is, if I want, I could have made a YouTube channel and I could have made, say, the teaching skills that I have, I can actually, uh, you know, I could have made a little bit more fortune in my life, but I did not do it. So I actually spent making the OET Exam Mastery app. Okay, so even I don't have any technical knowledge about app and all that, but still, it took me 2 years from scratch to develop the app. That everything from Cambridge University materials, because I knew this is the only way students are going to get the benefit for listening and reading. Okay, so those slides, those recorded lectures that you get from the app, I know it is tough. Watching long, lengthy lectures, 1.5 hours, 45 minutes, not easy. But at least the difficult questions, you have to make sure that you're logging into the app and you're making notes of it. Okay, and then still, if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to me and I'll be clarifying those doubts. So it takes patience, it takes time. Slow and steady wins the race. Right. So these are the skills. Okay. So again, OET is not a theoretical exam. It's a purely practical test over here. So I have given you the right guidance. I have given you the tips. I have given you the strategies. I have given you the tactics. I have given you the things that you should do. I have given you the things that you are not supposed to do. Now, with this knowledge, with this wisdom, you have to commit yourself to the preparation process, work very smart, understand what skills you have to develop, and understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, and accordingly, improve. Okay, that is what you do. Right. So,
Shrikant,
yeah.
Shrikant,